Our sheets are still covered. So yeah, welcome.
Episode
Welcome
10.
to another show. Karibuni sana.
It's a bit of a special day.
Today we are celebrating the 10th episode of the AfricanStockPhoto blog, Indecent Exposure.
It's a bit of a, it's an occasion.
It's an occasion.
Well done.
Good job.
10 years in, 10 episodes in. So today we wanted to share some of our thoughts that keep changing, evolving about how we measure how we're doing so far and how we'll know when we're successful in launching the company we're trying to build. Yeah, so there are many metrics. It's important to have ways to measure what you're doing, goals that you can set yourselves.
Yeah.
And so the main thing we're talking about today is the metrics we use to measure our success.
Yeah. So I mean, the obvious ones to start with are number of sales, we're trying to make money, number of photos in the database, and how many visitors we get.
Yeah, so those are the obvious ones that we started out with. The idea is try to grow each of them, hopefully exponentially. Sales, the obvious thinking we had starting out is we'll just start no sales on day one because there are no photos. As we get more photos, people start buying things and it accelerates upward.
Yeah.
But one of the things we've been learning is that it's not quite that simple. There's a lot of factors to this. Like, we know that a visitor who comes to AfricanStockPhoto.com is a lot more likely to buy a photo if there's a large database of well-tagged content that matches what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so in the early days, the sales aren't just going to grow exponentially based on how people sign up or how many people visit the site.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation where we need to get like to a critical number of photos on the site, so that more often than not you find what you're looking for on the site.
Yeah, so I guess we can dive into some of the more interesting metrics that we've come up with over time.
Yeah.
One of the first ones is a measure of the diversity of our content is how many countries across Africa are represented on our site.
Yeah.
So we know we've been trying to target everyone across the continent. We are based here in Nairobi, but we're not trying to be focused exclusively on East African content. We want everything from across the world.
So we've already got quite a few countries of guys uploading on the database. We've had some Algeria, some Uganda, some Kenya, some South Africa, some Nigeria. So we're loving that, and keep them coming.
Yeah. Second measure we can talk about is the number of uploaders that we have and the number of photos that they each upload.
Yeah.
So, like Dickie said, the key outcome we want is as many photos as possible on the site, because that will lead to more sales, that will lead to more people finding what they're looking for. So when we advertise to people on Facebook or when people hear about our site, one of the things we've noticed is that people might sign up and upload one or two photos, testing the waters, see how this beautiful picture that they like sells, and then they're looking for that validation before they invest heavier into
more photos.
Which makes sense. It's a rational way to view it. Yeah, but one of the key metrics that we need to grow is for each person who joins our site, we need them to upload as many photos as possible.
Yeah.
So there are many ways we could look to growing this. We have some ideas like incentivizing them, like when you sign up, maybe when you get to at least 50 photos on your account, it unlocks something. We might just actually pay people, share the revenue that we're trying to grow.
Yeah, definitely a consideration. We're just trying to encourage people. It makes sense. It's perfectly logical to try and test the waters. But then the more you upload, the more chances like someone's going to find exactly what they're looking for in your images. So it makes sense both ways, and we're just trying to encourage the latter, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
Another metric we're looking at is our search effectiveness and also the click-through rate. Search effectiveness basically speaks towards, one, how well our images are tagged so that we make it as easy as possible for you to find, and secondly, obviously, the size of the database, which is like how many images come out in the search. And click-through rate is basically a validation that our search process is functioning properly. And so those are two things that we're definitely trying to streamline right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like an extreme example is, let's say we have 1 million photos in our database, and they're all, like half of them are photos of elephants. When someone comes and searches for elephants, if we display the wrong images, it's not what the person is looking for, we might have very big search results, but with very low click-through rates because people are not going to, this is not what they were looking for, so they won't click on the result. And on the other hand, we might have excellent quality images of elephants, but they're not tagged, so someone gets only 3 such results.
Yeah.
And again, doesn't click through or is limited, only is interested in 1 or 2 of these.
Yeah.
So these are interrelated metrics that we try to, we want everyone to see as many photos as possible without compromising
the quality of the results.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and that's sort of the thinking that we had behind the AI tagging, for example, which helps you to basically tag your photos so that when someone searches in the future, it's more likely that they'll find your image that they're looking for.
Yeah. And empowering photographers to catalog their content properly is it's a long road. There's a lot of improvement to make. Like for example, we don't have bulk tagging yet.
Yeah.
So if I upload 100 photos of a coffee plantation, at the moment I have to go through and add the coffee tag to each one of them, and it's definitely something we want to build in coming releases, is the ability to just select a bunch of photos that have the same content and tag them with the same tag.
Yeah.
The next metric is the cost of user acquisition. So any business that does any kind of marketing will be measuring this. It's for each dollar you spend on advertising, how effective is that? How many users do you get in? So one of the reasons this is very important in early days is because we're doing a bit of social media paid marketing, and that lets us target specific audiences. And so this is also a way of validating that we're talking to the right people, that the people we think want to use African stock photo actually do use it. Yeah, and so the main thing here is just with our different target markets that we've advertised to, measuring, like given the same input, say we spend 500 shillings in a week or something on adverts for them, we want to see which ones are the most effective and double down and find out why is this audience more responsive to our advertisements than others.
Exactly. And so actually the final one sort of links back to that because it's related to social media. You know, a lot of the times when you advertise on social media, it's possible to get clicks and likes and loves and thumbs up and all of these things. But if that doesn't translate into some sort of acquisition, whether it's a user or a buyer, then it sort of loses its purpose basically. So one of the things that we're definitely looking at is like the effectiveness of getting likes versus getting users. So definitely a balance that we're trying to understand and do better all the time.
Connected to that is it's 2 things. Social media marketing is not an automatic thing, so sometimes you'll get a lot of shallow empty likes or people retweeting your content or whatever it may be, which does not necessarily mean that they're engaging with the product you're trying to sell or the service you're trying to provide. But also it could speak to the effectiveness of your platform. And you can't just blame Facebook that 18 million people like my page and only 500 of them have ever visited our website. Maybe that means that you have a pretty Facebook page and your website is not doing its job correctly. So that's one of the things we really need to keep an eye on. I'd like for you guys to know just how uncomfortable Dicky is in a tie.
You have no idea.
It's like he doesn't understand how people function.
You have no idea. What is this? I feel like I'm being strangled. Is this a real thing?
It's just that like, people live their lives like this.
I can't. T-shirts only, please. Cool. And on a slightly different note, this weekend I had the privilege of attending the Nairobi Instagram tour. Happened on Saturday. It was basically a walk through Nairobi city, taking pictures, talking to people, meeting new guys, and later on in the evening, heavy drinking. So it was a great experience. Met a lot of cool guys, especially the individuals in Uber number 8. Shout out to you, Marion, Kenneth, and Kat. I had a great time. Apart from that, so some of the images that I took, which I think are pretty dope.
I think they are pretty dope.
Thank you for the confirmation. So we're going to have those up on the blog later today. So check those out, and we'll be giving them out for free as long as you accredit AfricanStockPhoto for the images.
There's a really cool IG community here in Nairobi. It's good
Super
that
cool.
He's diving into that as a photographer himself. And these are our target users. So awesome to see guys out there doing this.
Loads of fun by the way. I'll tag Turn Up Travel in the blog. You should check out their stuff. They're super dope team doing incredible things. So look out for that.
Nice. So is that it? End of the newscast?
I think that's the end of our newscast. Thank you for watching News at 9.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.